Hi, thanks for joining me today. Our practice today is going to focus a little bit on core strength and hip stability. We're going to stay pretty low to the ground, and I don't think you'll really need any special props if you have a yoga block or a stack of books handy for any support that you might need or want. That would be great. Otherwise, let's get started. We're going to start in child pose today. So come to all fours to start with. So setting up our foundation, wrist under shoulders, knees under hips, and then exhale, round the spine and fold back to child pose. Hips towards the heels, forehead resting on the mat. If your forehead doesn't come all the way down, take one of your yoga blocks, let your forehead rest on the block, or you can use a stack of books, or you can even make fists with your hands, stack the hands up on top of each other and let the head rest there. Whatever you need to feel supported. So as you settle in here, just notice how your body feels. Feel the stretch in the back of the body. And then begin to bring awareness to your breath and breathing, breathing in and out of the nose. And then begin to gently deepen the breath as you breathe. Think of breathing into the lower back, the back of the ribs. Let the breath move all the way up to the shoulders. And then exhaling the breath from the shoulders and the ribs and the lower back. So just feeling that flow of energy, breath through the body. And then as you take your next inhale again, in through the nose, and then we're going to take an exhale out the mouth. Let it sigh out. Inhale through the nose. Exhale out the mouth. And then as you take your next inhale, press into the hands and the feet. Inhale, come up to table pose. Nice neutral spine, lengthen the spine. Exhale, round the spine and fold back to that table pose. So we'll do that a couple times. Inhale, press into the feet. Just come up to neutral spine. And then exhale, round the spine up towards the ceiling as you fold back to child pose. One more time like that. Inhale. And exhale. And then this time, inhale, come up to table pose. Continue to lengthen the spine, lift the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. Think of lifting the tailbone up. And then exhale, round the spine, draw the belly in, gaze towards the belly button, come to a cat pose. So inhale, send the sit bones back, lengthen the front of the body, coming into a cow pose. And exhale, round the spine. So we want to warm up the spine before we do our focus on our core work here. So keeping this going a few more times. Exhale and inhale. Good. Once more. Exhale and inhale. And after this exhale, come back again to that neutral spine, neutral table. And so if you were using a prop, just move it out of the way. Make sure, again, wrists are under shoulders and knees are under hips. So we're going to focus a little bit on our hips in this next little sequence. So pressing into the feet, we're going to just lift the left knee and foot just a tiny bit off the mat so that it's just kind of floating. And we're going to inhale and bring that leg out to the side. And we're going to exhale and bring it back in. And then we're going to inhale, toe pointed, lift the leg up hip height. And then as you exhale this time, cross the left knee over to the outside of the right leg. It doesn't have to touch all the way down. Think of getting a nice stretch in the side of the body and that outer hip. And then inhale, come back up and exhale, lower down. So through this whole sequence, so that was one repetition. So we're going to inhale out to the side, exhale back to center, inhale, lift it up, exhale, reach it over to the right. And inhale again back to center and exhale down. Good. So again, we're working this whole glute med area here. So inhale, leg out to the side. Exhale back to center. Inhale, point the leg up, little hamstrings, little glute max here. Exhale down. Exhale down and over to the right. And one more time. So we're going to lower that leg down. Then we're going to inhale, lift it to the side. exhale, lower. Inhale, lift it up. Think of pointing the toe up towards the ceiling. Hip height for the knee. Exhale, reach it over to the right and back up to center, and then release it down. So we do the same thing with the other leg. So same thing, just kind of let that leg hover. Just lift the hip a little bit, engage those core muscles as we do that. Lift that leg a little bit, and we're going to inhale, open that leg out to the side. Exhale, lower it down. Now inhale, lift the leg to hip height again, knee is flexed, toes pointed, and then bring that leg out to the left. Inhale again, lift up, and exhale, lower. So again, that was one cycle. So inhale the leg out to the right, exhale back down. Again, try not to let it touch, just let it hover. Inhale, lift it up, and exhale, lower it over to the left. And inhale again, lift up, and exhale, lower. Good, once more, inhale, excuse me, do two more times. Exhale down, inhale, lift it up, exhale, reach it over to the left, inhale, back up, and exhale, lower down. Good, one more time. Inhale, lift it to the right, knee to the right, exhale down, inhale, lift the knee up, hip height, toes pointing up towards the ceiling, exhale, reach the left leg over to the outside, right leg to the left, outside of the left leg, inhale, back up, and exhale, release down. So to let all of that release, let's curl the toes under, bring the hands in front of the shoulders, press into the fingertips, base of the knuckles, lift the knees a couple inches off the mat, really draw that lower belly in and up, engage core muscles, send your sit bones up and back, come to a bent knee, downward facing dog. Nice length in the spine, and then slowly pedal the feet. Press down through one heel, keep the opposite knee bent, get a good stretch on that side, and then switch sides. So just very gently and slowly, little pedal side to side. And then coming back to that downward facing dog, either knees bent or both legs straight, your option. Take a breath. Inhale and exhale. And then looking towards the hands, we're going to bend the right knee and we're going to step the right leg up beside the right hand. If it doesn't get all the way there, just take hold of it and help step it forward. Release the back knee down and curl the toes. Come to this low lunge here. Think of a nice width across the collarbones. So here, if you have yoga blocks, this is an option. You can always rest your hands on your blocks. That nice opening in that right hip. Then curl the back toes under. You can also do this with the knee down on the mat. Lift the back knee. Left hand's going to stay on the mat or the block, and we're going to reach the right fingertips up and overhead, coming into a twist. So part of the muscles, some of the muscles that help stabilize us in the saddle are the internal and external oblique muscles, which help us twist. So any twisting is great for that stability. Inhale and exhale, and then gently release that right hand back down. If you were using your props, just move them off to the side, out of the way, hands to the mat, step the right leg back beside the left, back to your downward facing dog. Always an option to come down to child pose if you prefer. So your option, inhale and exhale. And then we're going to bend that left knee, step the left foot up into that lunge. Make sure the heel again is underneath the knee. Release the back knee down to the mat and curl the toes. So again, hands can stay on the mat. I'll show it this way this time, or you can use your hand, rest your hands on your blocks. But just find that nice opening in this left hip flexor, a little stretch in that right quadricep and psoas muscle. Lengthen through the crown of the head, widen across the collarbones. Inhale and exhale. And now right hand to the mat, or you can make a little tent with the fingertips, your option. Reach that left arm up and overhead. As you take this twist, make sure the left knee stays over the heel. Don't let it wing out to the side. Inhale and exhale. And again here, if you'd like, you can lift the back knee or keep that knee grounded, your option. Inhale and exhale, and then gently release that left hand back down, and then once again stepping back to that downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. Again, maybe a pedal of the feet here if you'd like, or you can keep the legs straight and maybe just lift up one of the toes and then release the heels down. The heels do not need to touch the mat, but just feel that nice stretch in the back of the legs. Inhaling and exhale, and then letting both knees release down to the mat. Uncurl the toes, come back to child pose just for a breath. Exhale. And inhaling. And then from this child pose, we're going to come onto our bellies. So sliding all the way forward, legs all the way behind you. We're going to come down with the elbows directly underneath the shoulders. We're going to make a little tripod shape here by interlacing the fingers. So a good way to check to make sure alignment, because we're going to put some weight in the elbows here, a little elbow plank pose. If you can reach for opposite elbows, you should be able to just bring the top two knuckles up to the outside of the elbows. So we don't want the elbows out too wide or in too close. So just find that alignment for you. And then curl the toes under. We're going to lift up to an elbow plank pose. So as you're lifting here, you want to make sure the hips aren't sagging down towards the mat. So think of lifting the hips up, drawing that lower belly in and up. And then we're going to work a little bit on our core here. So let's start with the left leg. We're going to bring the left knee up towards the left elbow and extend it back. And then the right knee opens out to the side and towards the right elbow and extend it back. So keep that going. It doesn't matter how far you're moving. The other thing you can do if you need a little support is you can keep one knee down on the mat and just work a little bit with the position without as much of the core strength. So make sure you're breathing. Inhale and exhale. And inhale out to the side, exhale back. Good, one more time each side. Inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale. Now release the knees down to the mat. And once again, we're going to fold back to a child pose for a breath. Inhale, let all of that release, and exhale. Press into the hands, come back up to table pose. So one more little sequence here. So starting in plank pose, wrist underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Extend the right leg back, press through the heel, left leg back to meet the right. So again, think of drawing that lower belly in and up. So we're focused a little bit on the transverse abdominus muscle just below the belly button that wraps around the torso. So just tap the knees down to the mat and lift the knees back up, and tap the knees down and lift, and tap the knees down. So think of keeping everything else nice and stable and just tap the knees down and lift. You should feel this just below the belly button. Tap the knees down and lift. Good, one more time, tap the knees down and lift. Now this time, draw lower belly in and up, sit bones up and back. Come to plank pose, and then inhale, come back forward to, downward facing dog, and then come back forward to plank pose. Once again, downward facing dog, sit bones up and back. And then come forward to plank pose. You got this. One more time. Exhale. And inhale back to plank pose. One more downward facing dog. Pause here. Inhale and exhale, and then release the knees down to the mat. Uncurl the toes, fold back to your child pose. You can, if you'd like, you can bring your hands back beside your feet this time. Let the wrist and the shoulders relax. Or just keep your hands in front. Again, maybe the hands are stacked up under the head. But take a few breaths. Breathe into the back of the body. And then gently pressing into the hands. If you have the hands beside the feet, bring them back forward. Gently come up to table pose. And we'll just do a little stretch side to side. So sitting up on the heels, just kind of shift the hips off to one side. And then reaching, so let's say if the hip shifted off to the right, left fingertips to your side, float the right arm up and overhead, get a nice stretch on the right side of the body. Inhale and exhale, and then let that hand come back down, and then see if you can use your core muscles to shift yourself back up and over to the other side. So right hand rests to the side, float the left arm up and overhead, take a little stretch on this side. Inhale and exhale, and then once again coming back to vertical, and then see if you can lift yourself back up. So I hope that warmed up those core muscles today. Again, whether you are an equestrian or not, strong core muscles, the transverse abdominus that wraps around the torso, and the internal external obliques that also are on the side of the body, and the glute medius on the outside of the outer hip are great muscles for stabilizing the torso when you're in the saddle or just when you're moving through your day. So hopefully that will help you, and I hope to see you sometime soon in the saddle or on the mat. Have a great day. Thanks.